Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer. You know, a lot of people think that I'm condescending, but I'm not. And by condescending, I mean I have to explain every little thing to people of lesser intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Ninth World from Lone Shark Games. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. The Ninth World from Lone Shark Games is a game of skill building in the world of Numenera. Now, here's a fantasy and science fiction realm. It takes place, thousands and thousands of years in the far future, where kind of magic and technology kind of coexist. It's a fascinating IP and world that we've seen in some great games. And this is a skill building game in which players will bid for various powers and abilities and seek victory. Now, at the very beginning, players will select different characters that have different abilities with different skills. You're also going to get a number of kind of skill cards with the number 1 on it. You're also going to get some effort cards as well. And then players are going to go ahead and they're going to set out various cards from the town. You're also going to go ahead and create the kind of what region you're in. There are different groups of 5 cards that have the regions. You put those 5 cards in the same region out, and there's a potential there for 9 rounds. You go down one side and up the other. You're going to go ahead and place the kind of current phase marker next to the number 1 region there. Now, the various cards that you put out in the town are in various colors that are associated with the different skills. The skills are Scout, Tinker, Charm, Combat, and Focus, and they're associated with the specific colors, as I say. Well, what you're going to do is every round, you're going to essentially have a bidding for each of these colors and each of these card systems every time you go. So the very first thing you're going to do is bid for Scout. So you can draw your Scout cards. You can bid any of your cards to flip them over to show how much they're worth and their total. Now, the first person or whoever bids the highest, they're going to go ahead and draw that number of cards that they bid from the wilderness deck and expose the wilderness regions. Now, with the wilderness regions out, the person that actually drew them can place their marker on there. That's just theirs for round. Only they can associate with those cards for that round. Then later, those markers are going to go away. Then the player who goes second, they can go ahead and they can put out those cards as well. Now, for the rest of the round, you're going to bid for these other skills the same way, which means you can't bid for everything every round. You don't have enough cards, but there's opportunities to bid there. Now, when you do that, when you bid in a certain round here, in a certain phase, you can go ahead then and claim a card for the number that you have bid. So you can claim these cards and then start creating kind of a card tableau that give you different abilities. Some of the cards have one-time uses. Some of the cards give you persistent abilities. There's all sorts of things that happen. Now, critically, a lot of times as you're drawing the cards, you're going to go ahead and get victory points. Now, here, the victory point track, or the valor track as it is called, is part of the game box. You've got that out there. When you're collecting cards, you're going to go ahead and advance yourself on the valor track. Now, other abilities and other things that are going on will also allow you to advance on the valor track. Now, as you're doing this, as I say, the cards will give you different abilities, and some of the abilities will allow you to essentially increase your skills, those cards that you hold. You can actually exchange them from just kind of a number 1 level skill card to a level 2, I think up to a 4 level skill card. So your ability to bid for certain cards and at certain times will actually be greatly increased as the game goes along. Now, throughout the game, you can gain wounds, particularly when you're doing combat. You can gain wounds. There's other ways you can gain wounds. And essentially, every wound you have is going to negate your valor by about 5 points at the end of the game. So players are going to go back and forth. They are going to bid every round for the various cards, for the wilderness cards. They're going to engage in combat. They're going to focus. That's where you can go ahead and upgrade your cards. You're going to go ahead and do all of these things. And then finally, whoever has the most valor at the end of the game wins the ninth world. So, okay, first of all, I have to say, Numenera, I think, is just a really interesting place to visit and play. I love the artwork in this game. I think the box itself is awesome. It unfolds, and you've got the scoring track there. The game looks phenomenal. I was so excited when I got this and eager to play because I thought it just looks amazing. Now, I should point out, too, there's a lot more going on than I talked about in my rules overview. I'm just giving you the basics, but there's a lot more going on there as well. I have to be honest, bidding typically is not my favorite mechanic in games. Now, there's some games where you bid and it works well and I like it, but generally speaking, I'm not the biggest fan of bidding in games. It's not my favorite thing. And so I saw there was bidding in this. I'm like, oh, okay. And so we go ahead and we put everything out and we start doing the bidding and start doing it. And it's kind of interesting seeing some of the cards come out and some of the abilities and how they work. And then we bid some more, and then we bid some more, and then you bid some more. And then it was the next round, and then you bid some more, and then bid some more. And essentially the game is bidding. The game is all about bidding, constantly bidding. That's really just about the only major mechanic in play here. Now, there's, like I say, other little things and the way the cards interact they're interesting and they're cool. But really, fundamentally, the game is about bidding. And as I say, you're playing through 9 rounds of this, or you go through 9, rounds. And then each time you go through these 5 bidding. And there's sometimes when you're doing the bidding where you're not bidding on, no one's going to bid on something. Maybe there's not a card out there. Maybe it's just obvious people don't want to go for a certain color, a certain skill. And so, okay, we're passing this. Okay, we'll bid on this, And frankly, after a while, it just became kind of tedious. My friend Ray and I've just played this 2-player, but I imagine even if you play with more people, it might even be more tedious as it might go on a little bit longer. And we thought we were playing through it pretty good. But it's still just, that's really what the game is it's just bidding. And I think there's some good ideas here. And it's almost like if they had been able to dial that back and add something else into the mix, I might have been more enthusiastic about this game. As it is, gameplay I really found wanting, and I realize part of that's a personal thing of just not being the biggest fan of bidding. But at the same time, I can't imagine people that are really gung ho about bidding in games enjoying this that much either, because as I say, it's tedious, and sometimes you're not bidding for everything, and it just sometimes there is competition because you both want a specific card. Often there's not. And so this game did not thrill me. And I don't know who it would thrill. Now, the game, as I say, it's beautiful. I love the components. I love the artwork. I love just about everything about this game except how it plays, which is kind of important because the game is the thing. Really wanted to enjoy this game more than I did. Recommendation for the discriminating gamer on that basis is I cannot recommend. If you're somebody that really likes bidding, this might be for you, but honestly, I just left me kind of cold. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. And I'd ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson PhD, where we talk about military history and books on history. I upload some of my lectures on there as well. Please check that out, and please subscribe to that channel. It would mean a lot to me. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please leave a thumb for this video on Board Game Geek. And if you are a big fan of the channel, I'd ask you to go ahead and click on our Super Thanks button here on the YouTube page and leave a contribution. We would really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, the other day I was driving down the street and a motorcycle cop, he pulled up alongside me and he said, "Pull over." And I said, "No, it's a cardigan, but thank you for asking." Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on
douche.